My girlfriend thought it was funny to joke in front of her friends. If my ex texted me right now, I'd leave him instantly. They all laughed. I just smiled. That night, she got a text, but not from her ex. Kale 30, a financial software engineer, had been with Bryn 29, a human resources consultant, for 4 years. We lived in Chicago, Illinois. It was a city I appreciated for its massive financial and tech markets, but Bryn only cared about its intense social scene. Our combined income was high, but Bryn's focus on expensive, trendy living and constant socializing made financial security a distant goal. I made about $200,000, and Bryn made about $100,000. We rented a high-rise apartment in the West Loop area. Our lifestyle was defined by expensive downtown outings and constant status signaling. We often ate at high-end restaurants like Alinea and constantly attended exclusive social events. Our friends were a mix of my steady, analytical colleagues and her volatile, image-obsessed social network. They constantly reinforced Bryn's belief that life was a performance for a visible audience. I felt like the silent partner, the financial engine of her social life. I wanted to start my own proprietary trading algorithm firm. Bryn wanted me to remain a predictable, high-salary engineer to fund her current spending. My career was solid but intellectually stagnant. I was excellent at building trading software, but I wanted to move into high-frequency, quantitative trading, leveraging complex AI. I was quietly interviewing for executive roles that offered immense responsibility and global exposure. Bryn openly dismissed my ambition. She called quantitative finance too much math and mocked my detailed risk models as unnecessary homework. She valued my income but not my financial genius. The opportunity that presented itself was a career zenith. It was with a massive, international hedge fund known for its secretive, high-return strategies. The role was Director of Quantitative Strategy, EMA. The location was London, England. This was a massive global step, placing me at the intellectual and financial core of world markets. The compensation package was exceptional. The base salary was $500,000 annually, with massive tax advantages due to the firm's structure. They included an immediate, substantial signing bonus of $100,000. The benefits included fully paid, luxury executive housing, private travel, and a guaranteed annual performance bonus of 50%. This was the kind of offer that secured generational wealth in just a few years. I decided to present the offer to Bryn over a quiet dinner at our apartment. I thought the director title and the massive financial figures would finally quiet her criticism. Bryn, this is it. I got the offer. It's the director role. This is the top of my field, I said, handing her the formal offer packet. She looked at the elegant, minimalist logo of the hedge fund. She seemed mildly curious, but mostly annoyed. Another coding job, Kale, or is this actually management? She asked, already skeptical. It's Director of Quantitative Strategy, with a major international hedge fund. The location is London. She scanned the salary figure. Her eyes widened momentarily at the tax-advantaged sum. $500,000 tax-advantaged. I admit that's an incredible amount of money. But London.
It's across the ocean.
My entire professional network is here. I have a whole business and social life built in Chicago. I can't just quit that for rain and bad food. You could focus on international HR consulting. The market is enormous there. We would be completely financially free in 7 years. This is about building a future, not just funding a lavish apartment. Building a future that's utterly isolated. My social life, my friends, my entire image is here. You expect me to throw away my successful career and my fabulous life for a spreadsheet title. You're so self-centered, Kale. You only care about the complexity of your trading models. Just say no. I'm not going. She tossed the packet back. Her contempt was palpable. She had confirmed her priorities. My financial genius and future were secondary to her current, comfortable social scene and her fragile ego. The conflict was now a clear choice between my ambition and her control. The final straw came a few nights later. We were at a large gathering with her friends. The conversation turned to past relationships. Bryn was performing for the group. She looked directly at me, grinning, seeking approval from her friends. You know, I told Kale, if my ex texted me right now, I'd leave him instantly. They all burst into loud, theatrical laughter. Bryn soaked it in. I just stood there and smiled. I had heard enough. I didn't react. I didn't engage. That night, she got a text. It was not from her ex. Update 1. I did not say no to the hedge fund. I accepted the job offer immediately. I signed the contracts electronically and secured the massive signing bonus. I was done allowing Bryn's shallow priorities and public contempt to dictate my professional trajectory. My plan began instantly. It was a complete, rational shadow operation. The following weeks were marked by extreme tension. I would try to bring up the London move, framing it as an exciting opportunity we needed to plan for. I need to start researching international movers. The bank is providing a full relocation service to London. I stated one evening. I am not moving, Kale. The topic is closed. I'm not running off to a strange, old city because you got a shiny new title. Focus on us. That's our priority, she replied, completely shutting down the discussion. This is my career. It's Director of Quantitative Strategy. It's self-respect. Your self-respect is in a financial district. Mine is in a cocktail lounge. You can forget it. Stop trying to convince me to trade my life for your logic. Be reasonable. She repeated the dismissive lines often. They were designed to belittle my achievement and reinforce her control. Her friends quickly jumped in to mock me. At a weekend brunch, her close friend Dara, a fellow consultant, was particularly aggressive. So, Kale, I hear you're still talking about moving to some humid finance hub. How tragic for Bryn, Dara said, looking at me with disdain. It's Director of Quantitative Strategy, Dara. It's a massive opportunity for our future. I explained calmly. Future. What future is there in a place with no social scene? Bryn is right. You're just a numbers guy. You should listen to your heart, not your bonus structure. You're trading glamour for graphs. I'm trading stagnation for immense, generational wealth. My stability is my future. I replied, walking away. Their collective reinforcement of her views only made my path clearer. They were all financially dependent on their current, expensive social scene. My plan became meticulously secret. First, the financials were reorganized. I opened 2 new, separate accounts. One was a private wealth management account with the hedge fund's private bank. The second was an offshore trading account. I changed the direct deposit instructions. I routed almost all of my paycheck, including the 100,000 signing bonus, into the new, hidden accounts. I left only enough in our joint checking account to cover her share of the rent and our minimal joint expenses. Bryn was terrible at managing details. She would not notice the decreased flow. I meticulously gathered all documents for our joint assets. I spent my evenings on research. I did not use our shared computer. I used my work-issued laptop. I found an excellent expat relocation specialist. I made several trips to London, claiming I had to attend high-level client meetings in New York. I was actually securing our new life. I focused on the Canary Wharf area. It was modern, secure, and close to the financial district. I secured a beautiful, luxury condominium. It was fully furnished and paid for by the company allowance. The lease was entirely in my name. The logistical planning was intricate. I started separating our belongings slowly. I boxed up my extensive technical library. I packed all my devices and my personal records. I used a large, lockable storage unit outside the city. I told Bryn I was selling old office equipment for cash. She did not ask for details. She was too busy planning her next social gathering. I secured my residency and work visas for the UK. The process was handled entirely by the fund's legal team. I had to keep all the paperwork hidden. I managed it all by scheduling calls and interviews during my workday. My focus was absolute. I was operating in full isolation. The time finally came for the execution phase. It was the night after she made the public joke. Bryn was asleep. I had packed my last, small bag. I changed the codes on the smart lock. I quietly sent a final text to her phone from a burner number I would discard. I know you'd leave him instantly, but I'm already gone. Good luck finding a director role in Chicago. Then, I left the house. My plane ticket for London was in my pocket. The divorce papers, finalized and waiting for my lawyer, were taped to the door. Update 2. Bryn woke up to silence. My side of the bed was cold. She found the note on the pillow. It was a simple text. I'm gone. Divorce papers filed. All future communication goes to my lawyer. The physical separation papers were taped to the front door. I was in a cab, halfway to the airport, already on a secure line with my lawyer. The official papers were being filed immediately. When she finally contacted my lawyer, the truth was laid out. It was a simple, factual letter confirming the dissolution of the marriage due to her public contempt. An expressed lack of commitment. It provided the final details of my departure and my new role as Director of Quantitative Strategy in London. The letter informed her that the lease on the apartment had been terminated and requested she vacate the premises by the end of the month. Her immediate reaction was a furious explosion of anger. She sent me aggressive, long emails and texts via an old address. "You're a coward, Kale.
You ruined my life. You used my joke against me.
You will lose your job. I'll expose you for your weakness," she wrote. "That was just a stupid joke, Kale. You took it too far. You are ruining our life for spite. I'm going to sue you for everything," another said. My lawyer sent a brief reply, confirming the finality of my decision and stating that all communication must cease. Then came the desperate bargaining. She shifted to long, rambling emails. She promised to quit her job. She offered to move to London immediately. She swore she would love the finance hub. I forwarded the emails to my lawyer. This was followed by a period of dramatic depression. I heard through mutual friends that she was posting cryptic, heartbroken messages on social media. She spun a victim narrative, claiming I was mentally abusive and abandoned her for a crazy, cult-like job in a foreign country. She sought pity. Finally, the spike of pure anger returned. She threatened lawsuits. She claimed half of my future salary. My lawyer, using clear, documented facts of my separate finances and my post-separation asset acquisition, dismissed her claims as legally baseless. The move to a foreign jurisdiction with an entirely new firm made her threats even weaker. My moving day was completely drama-free. I was already working in London. Bryn was reportedly staying with her friend Dara. I felt an immense sense of relief and quiet triumph. I had secured my life. My new life in London was everything Chicago was not. It was high, energy, intellectually demanding, and focused entirely on complex quantitative modeling. My job was challenging and fast-paced. I was managing complex trading algorithms across the entire European market. I was respected by my peers. I felt validated for my financial acumen. I began thriving immediately. I joined an elite running club and explored the city's massive parks. I started networking with other global finance professionals. My work success was immense. Within 10 months, my fund beat all performance benchmarks. I received the massive 50% annual performance bonus. It was for $250,000, entirely tax-advantaged. I used the funds, combined with my massive savings, to make an all-cash purchase of a luxury flat in the Kensington district. It was an undeniable, tangible victory. The lies Bryn had been spreading back home began to crumble. She was telling everyone that I was a low-level analyst making barely enough to cover my own rent. "Chell, is it true you're struggling in London? Bryn told us you took a huge pay cut and were miserable." A worried college friend messaged. She told my co-workers you were basically living in a shared room and hated the work. Another wrote. I ignored her friends entirely. I was polite but brief with her family, who had started hearing the truth. "Kale, my brother told me you're a director. Bryn said you were just an office boy." Her cousin said, clearly shocked. I decided to stop the lies permanently. I made a high-impact post on LinkedIn. It was a professional photo of me speaking at a major international quantitative finance conference. My title, Director of Quantitative Strategy, EMEA, was clearly visible. I mentioned my fund's market-beating performance and the incredible team I led. The news of my prestige, my massive salary, and the importance of the hedge fund were undeniable. The reaction was explosive. My professional network was incredibly impressed. Bryn's circle was stunned into silence. The flood of emails and texts was immediate and intense. Director of Quantitative Strategy. "Kale, I am so sorry. Bryn told us you were doing data entry. I regret the things I said." Dara, the friend, wrote, her tone completely changed. "We all believed her story about the mental breakdown. We apologize for our earlier mockery. Congratulations on your success." A mutual friend added. Her family also reached out. They validated my decision and expressed quiet anger at Bryn's dishonesty. 6 months after the LinkedIn post, she showed up in person. I was leaving the fund's headquarters. A driver stepped out of a luxury car. Bryn was inside. She looked strained and desperate. "Kale, I flew all this way. I saw the flat. It's magnificent. I had no idea the job was this big," she said, rushing toward me. "You didn't know because you chose to believe I was a failure. That was more convenient for your narrative. Did you get that text from your ex?" I replied, my voice steady and cold. "I've changed, Kale. I realize how much I hurt you. The joke was stupid. I'm ready to move in. I'll start working globally. I'll support your career completely. You've changed. Did you change when you mocked my profession as too much math? Did you change when you publicly stated you'd leave me instantly for your ex? Your only change is the sudden realization of my financial status. You want back in on the wealth and the prestige. You don't want back in on the relationship. She tried to insist she was genuine. I love you, Cale. I missed you so much. You miss this? I said, looking at the city skyline. You don't miss me. Your circumstances have become difficult. Mine have become incredible. That is the only difference. The answer is no. You are not moving in. The divorce is final. I rejected her firmly. She escalated legally immediately. Her lawyer sent aggressive letters claiming entitlement to my London property. All shut down logically by my lawyer. He used clear, documented facts of my separate acquisition of assets post-separation and the lack of a legal marriage to shut down every claim. Her final move was a social media firestorm. She posted long, rambling stories about my supposed cruelty. The campaign backfired spectacularly. Mutual friends called her out for her entitlement and her history of lies. Even allies turned against her. 1 year later, I was thriving fully. My salary was now over $750,000 with bonuses. I had purchased 2 small investment properties in emerging European markets. My career was accelerating into the stratosphere. I was in a stable, respectful relationship with Eliza, a highly successful M&A lawyer. Our relationship was based on mutual ambition and clear financial goals. I received one final, short message from Bryn. It was a direct message on an old chat app. You won, Cale. I truly regret the person I was. I am so sorry I ruined everything. My reply was brief and final. It was all the closure she needed. I accept your apology, Bryn. I am doing very well. Final update. I was back in the United States for a brief, required investment summit in New York. My professional profile was massive. I received an unexpected call from Mr. Pierce, Bryn's father. He asked if I could meet him and his wife, Mrs. Pierce, for a quiet dinner. I agreed. They were kind, respectable people. We met at a quiet, corporate dining room. They looked visibly distressed. They immediately addressed the issue. Cale, we wanted to see you. We needed to apologize for Bryn. But mostly, for ourselves, Mr. Pierce said, his voice strained. Sir, you don't need to apologize. I've moved past it. I'm happy. We do. We raised her to prioritize external validation and social image over commitment and integrity. We taught her that the perception of a wealthy, fun life was more important than a true partnership. Mrs. Pierce added, her eyes holding regret. We should have supported you, Cale. We raised her to be entitled and dismissive of genuine, hard-earned success. We are deeply ashamed of her actions and the public contempt she showed you. Mr. Pierce nodded. She lost everything because she chose a childish fantasy and contempt over a world-class partnership. You showed her the ultimate consequence of her vanity. We are sorry we were not better parents and better mentors to you. Their apology was the final, profound vindication. It confirmed that my rational, ambition-driven path was the morally and logically correct one. I accepted their apology gracefully. I told them I harbored no ill will towards them. I wished Bryn peace and hoped she would find her path. I left the meeting feeling a deep, solid sense of completion. My life now is built on the core lesson of this entire experience. Contempt and betrayal are immediate grounds for total separation. Bryn's mockery, her constant financial demands, and her public joke about leaving me were all rooted in her desire to control me and keep me small. I learned that the only successful response to betrayal and contempt is to quietly build an unassailable reality. I did not engage in her drama. I did not plead my case. I simply executed my plan for success. My escape was not an act of revenge, but an act of self-respect. The revenge was simply the visible difference between her stagnant life in Chicago and my exponential growth in London. She lost everything she valued. The wealth, the prestige, the security, because she thought disrespect was funny. I am not a reactive man. I am a strategic man. I created a new life that is incredibly successful, immensely rewarding, and grounded in mutual respect with Eliza. We are building a massive financial future together. My career is soaring. I am happy. I am peaceful. I am fulfilled. I built this life. I earned this life.